Welcome to 11th standard botany class, children. I hope all are fine and safe by the grace of God. In our previous class, we have discussed what is cell and some important cell organelles. What is a cell? Yes, cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. Do you remember, children, what are the cell organelles we completed in the last class? Yes, it is endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies and mitochondria. In today's class, we are going to discuss the same topic, cell organelle. The cell organelle which we are going to see today is very important cell organelle. Children, do you remember which cell organelle control all the activities of the cell? Yes, it is nucleus. Very good. It is the brain of the cell. Okay, since it controls all the activities of the cell. So, today let us enter into a topic called nucleus. So, nucleus. This nucleus is an important unit of cell because which control all the activities of the cell. This nucleus, it carry hereditary information, that is from parents to the offspring. Okay, parent to the children. Okay, so like this, it carries genetic information from one generation to the next generation. So it carries hereditary information, and then it is the largest among all the cell organelles. Okay, it is the largest, and this nucleus, maybe it is in cuboidal shape, spherical shape, discoid shape, and then ellipsoidal shape. It may be of different shapes. Okay, and then this nucleus has double wall membrane. Okay, it has got what? Double wall structure, which is called as nuclear envelope. Okay, and then this nuclear envelope also, which has a nuclear space. Okay, nuclear space. Inside that nucleus there is a space which is filled, okay, with the nucleoplasm. This nucleoplasm is nothing but it is a gelatinous matrix. Gelatinous matrix which contain uncondensed chromatin. And then also nucleoli is present. Okay, so this nucleus is a spherical body which has a envelope which is double membrane, and also it is filled with the gelatinous matrix which is called as nucleoplasm, and also there is another part called as what? Nucleoli. Okay, now this chromatin network which is uncoiled and indistinct and remain thread-like structures. Okay, thread-like structure during the interphase. So this interphase is the first phase before the cell division. Okay, a cell before divide, it prepare itself, okay, for division. That is called as what? Interphase. And this also has a little amount of RNA, DNA, and also it is bounded with histone proteins in eukaryotic cell. Okay, so that is all about the nucleoplasm and the nucleolus. Now, nuclear envelope. So this nuclear envelope, it is nothing but it is a double membrane which covers the or encloses the nucleus. Okay, this membrane has got two membrane, that is one is inner, another one is called outer membrane. The inner membrane is smooth. Here there is no ribosomes. So inner membrane is without ribosomes, and whereas the outer membrane, if you see, means it is with ribosomes. Here there is a presence of ribosomes, and it continues with the irregular and infrequent intervals of endoplasmic with the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and here this membrane has perforated by some pores, so it is called as nucleopore. Okay, nuclear pore. Okay, the nuclear envelope is perforated means what? A small gap between the membranes, so that is called as what? A nuclear pores, which allow this nuclear pore allows mRNA, macromolecules, ribosomal units, and then proteins. Okay, it will allow only certain substances to enter in and out of the nucleus, and then these pores are enclosed by a circular substance. Okay, these pores are enclosed by a circular structures called annuli. Okay, so what is annuli? Annuli is nothing but this nuclear pore are surrounded by a circular structures. That is called as what? Annuli. Now this pore and the annuli, these both forms what? Pore complex. These both forms annuli and the pore. These two combine and it will form what? Pore complex. Okay. And the next is called perinuclear space. What is perinuclear space? The space between the two membranes. Okay. That is the inner and the outer. The space between the two membranes is called as what? Perinuclear membrane. Okay. And then now let us study about the chromosome. Next is called as what? Chromosome. There is a spherical body which is inside the nucleus. That is called as what? Nucleoli. Now during cell division what happens here? The chromatin which is condensed. Chromatin condensed and form a organized structure. Okay. Okay. Chromatin condensed and form a organized structure. That is called as what? Chromosome. That is called as what? Chromosome. Now the portion of the eukaryotic chromosome. Portion of the eukaryotic chromosome which is transcribed into mRNA. Okay. A part of eukaryotic chromosome that will transcribed into mRNA which contain active genes. Okay. But they are not tightly condensed. They are not tightly condensed during interphase. Such type is called as what? Euchromatin. Okay. What is euchromatin? The part of eukaryotic cell which is transcribed into mRNA which contain active genes that are not tightly condensed. That is called as euchromatin. What is heterochromatin? Heterochromatin here, again the same, the part of the eukaryotic mRNA, that is eukaryotic chromosome that is not transcribed, whereas euchromatin it is transcribed, whereas heterochromatin here the part of the eukaryotic chromosome which is not transcribed into mRNA but it remains condensed. Okay, whereas previously we saw it is transcribed into mRNA and are not tightly condensed. But here in heterochromatin, here the part of the chromosome which is that is not transcribed, into mRNA but it remains condensed during the interphase. That is called as what? Heterochromatin. Heterochromatin. So as I told you, nucleoli or nucleolus which is present in the center, that is which is present inside the nucleus, which is spherical in shape and it is small, dense. Okay, either it is present in single or in multiple in number inside the nucleus. But this nucleolus does not have membrane. Okay, it is not membrane bound. Okay, then this nucleoli possess genes for rRNA and tRNA. Okay, there are different types of RNA we studied. This is not mRNA, tRNA and rRNA. But this nucleolus contain genes for rRNA and tRNA. Okay, so with this we complete the structure of nucleus. Okay, so we begin with what is nucleus and then membrane and then what is nucleoplasm, what is nuclear envelope, what is nucleopore and then what is annuli and then what is chromosome, euchromatin and then heterochromatin. Now let us see what are the functions of nucleus. Okay, functions of nucleus. The first and foremost function of the nucleus is control. It is the controlling of all the other cellular structures. Okay, it control all the cellular activities in a cell. First is controlling. Second one, if you see, it will store the genetic information. It will store the genetic or hereditary information. And the next is it acts as a coding the information from DNA for the production of enzymes and proteins. So it acts as a coding informator. And the next one is here DNA duplication and transcription takes place. Okay, DNA duplication and transcription takes place inside the nucleus only. And then in nucleolus, if you see, means ribosomal biogenesis takes place. So inside the nucleolus, ribosomal biogenesis takes place. So these are the functions of the nucleus. That is, one is controlling and then storing the genetic information, coding the information, DNA duplication and transcription takes place, and inside the nucleolus, biogenesis, that is ribosomal biogenesis takes place. So with this we complete the cell organelle. What is nucleus? What are the functions of the nucleus?
Children, now we are going to discuss about the flagella. What is flagella?
Flagella is a thin hair-like structure which is used for locomotion. Here we are going to discuss the flagellation in prokaryotic and eukaryotic organism. Now let us begin with prokaryotic flagellum. Here the bacterial flagella are helical appendages. They are much thinner than that of the eukaryotes. The filament contains a protein called flagellin. The structure consists of a basal body which is associated with the cytoplasmic membrane and cell wall with a short hook and helical filament. Here, the bacteria rotates their helical flagella and propels rings which is present in the basal body which are involved in the rotatory movement that spins the flagellum. Now, let us begin with the structure of flagella in gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. In gram-positive bacteria, it contains two basal rings. One is S ring, another one is M ring. This S ring is attached to the inside of peptidoglycan, whereas another M ring is attached to the cell membrane. So, there are two basal rings in gram-positive bacteria. In gram-negative bacteria, there are two pairs of rings. One is proximal, another one is distal ring, which is connected by central rod. There are four rings are present, that is L ring, P ring, S ring and M ring. L ring means lipopolysaccharide ring. P ring means peptidoglycan ring. S ring means supermembrane ring. And M ring means membrane ring. Here there are two pair are present. One is attached to the cell wall, another one is attached to the cell membrane. That is, outer pair contain L and P rings which is attached to the cell wall, and the inner pair consists of S ring and M ring which is attached to the cell membrane. This is how the flagella, that is structure of flagella, present in gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. Now let us study the mechanism of flagellar movement, proton motive force. Here the flagellar rotation takes place only through proton movements, not through ATP. So flagellar rotation takes place only proton movements are involved here, not ATP. Here protons flowing back into the cell through basal body rings of each flagellum. That makes the flagellum drives it to rotate. Here the rings constitute the rotatory movement. The proton motive force drives the flagellar motor. For the rotation of the flagellum, here the energy which is derived from the protein gradient which is present across the plasma membrane, which is generated by the oxidative phosphorylation. In bacteria, flagellar motor is located in the plasma membrane where the oxidative phosphorylation takes place. Therefore, plasma membrane is a site of generation of proton motive force. Children, now let us study the structure of eukaryotic flagellum. This eukaryotic flagella are enclosed by a unit membrane which arises from the basal body. So it is covered by a unit membrane which is produced from the basal body. Flagella is composed of outer and inner, that is, which is in the center. Outer 9 pairs are present of microtubules. Okay. Outer 9 pairs of, children, what you see, please observe this diagram. Here what you see on the outer, there is a pair of rings, is it not? So that is outer 9 pairs of microtubules, and in the center you could see a pair which is 2. Okay, so 9 plus 2 arrangement, 9 pairs on the outer and 2 microtubules in the center. Here the flagella are microtubular projection of the plasma membrane. So flagella are microtubule projections of the plasma membrane. This flagellum is longer than the cilia. Okay, here the structure of flagellum has a axoneme which is made up of microtubules and protein tubules. So this structure of flagellum has an axoneme, which is made up of what? Microtubules and the protein tubulin. Now let us learn the movement of this eukaryotic flagella. Here the outer microtubule doublet is associated with the axonemal dying here, which generates force for movement. So outer microtubule doublet is associated with the axonemal dyne so that it generates force for movement. The movement is ATP driven. Here the movement is ATP driven. The interaction between the tubulin and dynein is the mechanism. So children observe the diagram where it is marked dynein arms and tubule. Okay, doublet microtubule. A tubule and B tubule. So here the interaction between the tubule and dynein is the mechanism for the contraction of the flagella and cilia. Now dying molecules uses energy from ATP to shift the adjacent microtubules. So this movement bends the cilium or flagellum. Okay. So at last you could see that energy which is driven from ATP to shift the adjacent microtubules. So this movement only bends the flagellum or cilium. Children, with this we complete the structure and movement of eukaryotic bacteria. Children, now we are going to discuss a new topic called cell cycle. What is cell cycle? Cell cycle is nothing but a series of events takes place which leads to the formation of new cell. That is called as what? Cell cycle. What is cell cycle? There is a number of events takes place which leads to the formation of new cycle is known as what? Cell cycle. This was first discovered by Prevost and Dumans in the year 1824. So the series of events include several phases, okay, such as S phase, G1 phase, G2 phase and G0 phase. The duration of the cell cycle. Okay, now let us study the duration of the cell cycle. Duration of the cell cycle, it differs from one cell to the another cell. Different kinds of cells have varied duration of cell cycle phases. Okay, here if you see means eukaryotic cell divides for every 24 hours. Okay, for every 1 day eukaryotic cell divides. The cell divides if you see means this cell cycle is divided into two. They are mitosis and interphase. In cell cycle, 95% takes place under interphase. Interphase takes place, that is, cell cycle occupies 95% for interphase. Whereas mitosis and cytokinesis, if you see, means it will take place only for an half an hour. Okay, for an hour, sorry. Hour means 1 hour. Okay, so 95% of the interphase means what? It is the first phase preparation. During this phase the cell begins to prepare itself to undergo division. Okay, first phase of that. So during cell cycle 95% of the time is spent for the interphase. Remaining that 5%, that is what is being taken by mitosis and cytokinesis. That will take place only for an hour. Okay. Now, let us study the different phases of cell cycle. They are interphase, G1 phase, G0, G2 and synthesis phase. Now, let us discuss each one in detail. First one is interphase. This interphase, it is the longest part of the cell cycle. Okay. So, interphase, as I said before, it is 95% of the time is spent for interphase. Okay, so it is the longest phase of the cell cycle. When we look at first, the nuclear appears to be at resting. Okay, so first nucleus appears to be what? A resting phase. But actually this is not the case at all. Here the chromosomes are thread-like structures appear to be, they are visible as thread-like structure and dispersed. Now they are actively involved in protein synthesis. Okay, after that is the chromosomes appear to be thread-like structures and dispersed, and they are actively involved in protein synthesis, at least for the most of the interphase. So what is interphase? It is the longest part of the cell cycle. First the nucleus appear to be at rest, but it is not the real case. The chromosomes appear to be thread-like structure and dispersed, and they are actively involved in protein synthesis. Next one is G1 phase. G1 phase 1 means what? First gap phase. Okay, G1 phase is otherwise known as first gap phase, which contain 2 carbon amount of DNA. 2 carbon amount of DNA in cells of G1. Now here the cells become metabolically active. Metabolically means what? All chemical reactions takes place. So here the cell becomes metabolically active and grows by producing. It also grows by producing protein, lipid, carbohydrates, and cell organelles also will be there. That is mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum. So here the cells become metabolically active and grow by producing protein, lipids, carbohydrates, and cell organelles also, including mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum. And then here there is a checkpoint, which is otherwise known as restriction point, is present at the end of the G1, okay, which determines the cell fate, whether it will continue in a cycle or it will divide or enter into a next stage called G0 as a quiescent stage. Okay, so this checkpoint, many checkpoints which control the cell cycle. One among the checkpoint called restriction point, which will determine the fate of the cell, whether it is going to enter into the next cycle or by dividing or enter into a stage called G0 or as a quiescent stage, or it is going to die, whether it is going to enter into the next stage or it is going to die. Here the cells are arrested in G1. Why the cells are arrested in the G1? Here because of poor nutrient. Okay, so first reason the cells are arrested in the G1 is poor nutrient, and then lack of growth factors, and then next third one is undergo metabolic changes and enter into the G0 state. Okay, so these are the reason why the cells are arrested in the G1. Okay, due to poor nutrition and then lack of growth factors, and it undergo metabolic changes and enter into the G0 state. Here biochemicals are present inside the cell which activates the cell division. So what makes the cell to divide? Biochemicals which is present inside the cells, such as the proteins called kinases and cyclins. These are active genes and their protein to perform cell division. So what makes the cell to divide? The biochemicals which is present, such as kinases and cyclins, activate genes and their proteins to perform cell division. Cycling here act as a major checkpoint. Okay, so there are many checkpoints we studied, is it not? So one among them is called a major checkpoint, is which operates in G1 to determine whether the cell divides or not, is cyclins. Okay, so cyclins act as a major checkpoint to check whether the cell will divide or not. So with this we complete what is G1 phase. Now let us study G0 phase. G0, here some cells exist in, some cell exit means what? Comes out of G1 and enter into a quiescent state. Okay, which is called as G0. So some cells, they will come out of the G1, that is other than the arrested cells. Some of the cells come out of that and enter into a next stage called G0, where the cells here remain metabolically active. Okay, metabolically active. Here the cells can exist for longer period. Okay, that is in G0 phase, cells can exist for longer periods. And also some cells cease the growth. Cease means what? Stop growth, stop their growth with a reduced rate of RNA and protein synthesis. G0 phase is permanent. So G0 phase is not a permanent stage. Okay, here you can see this they remain, that is a mature neuron and skeletal muscles, they remain permanently in G0. Okay, mature neuron and skeletal muscles, they remain permanent in the G0. And many cells in animals also, if you see, they remain in G0 unless they are called to and proliferate by appropriating growth factors. Or G0 cells are not dormant. Dormant means what? Sleeping. Okay, so G0 cells are not dormant. Sometimes growth factors or other extra cellular signals are also proliferate. Okay, so here many cells in animals remain G0. G0 means what? Here some of the cells exit, that is comes out of G1 and enters into a quiescent stage where the cells remain metabolically active. So G0 phase is metabolically active phase. Many cells in animals remain in G0 unless they are called on to proliferate by appropriate growth factors or any other extracellular signals. So here G0 cells are not dormant, they are metabolically active. The next phase is S phase, which is synthesis phase. Here cells with intermediate amounts of DNA. In this phase, growth of cells continue when there is a replication of DNA. Okay, when there is a replication of DNA takes place, growth of cell continues, and also protein molecules are synthesized, which is attached to the DNA. So cell growth is continuous here, and also protein molecules are synthesized. The centrioles, they duplicate in the cytoplasm, and here the DNA content increases from 2C to 4C, that is 2 carbon to 4 carbon. So what and all takes place during the S phase? S phase is otherwise known as synthesis phase. Here the cells with the intermediate amount of DNA. The cell's growth is continuous here during the replication of DNA, and protein molecules are synthesized here. Protein molecules are such as histones. Okay, and then centrioles, they duplicate in the cytoplasm, and the DNA content increases from 2 carbon to 4 carbon. Next, let us learn the G2 phase, which is second gap phase. Here 4 carbon amount of DNA in cells of G2 and mitosis. So here the cell growth continues like S phase. Here also cell growth continues by protein, and also cell organelles also synthesizes, such as mitochondria and chloroplast, they divide. And here DNA content remain the same. Okay, so DNA content, there we saw DNA content increases, that is in S phase, whereas here if you see means the DNA content remain the same, that is 4 carbon. And here tubulin is synthesized. After the formation of the tubulin, microtubules are formed. Okay, so after the formation of the tubulin, microtubules are formed. These microtubules, they arrange themselves to form spindle fibers. They organize to form microtubules, organize to form spindle fibers. Now the spindle fiber begin to form, and then nuclear division followed by the spindle begins. Okay, so the spindle begins, spindle fiber begin to form, the nuclear division follows. After the spindle fiber formation only, the nuclear division takes place. So one of the proteins are synthesized only in the G2 period is maturation promoting factor. So this is an important question, children. What is the only protein which is synthesized during G2 phases? Maturation promoting factor, G, that is MPF. Okay, so it brings about the condensation of the interphase and chromosomes in the mitotic form. And then DNA damage checkpoints operates in G1, S and G2 phases of the cell cycle. So with this we complete the second gap phase, which is 4C amount of DNA in cells of G2 and mitosis. Here the cell growth continues by protein and cell organelle synthesis. Tubulin is formed, and microtubules, they arrange themselves to form spindle fiber, and then spindle fiber begins to form, and then followed by nuclear division. And one of the protein which is synthesized only in G2 period is known as what? Maturation promoting factor. Children, in today's class we have discussed the important cell organelle, nucleus. Nucleus is the control, it control all the activities of the cell. It is the brain of the cell. Okay, the structure of nucleus we have discussed, and then we move on to the next topic called flagella, prokaryotic flagellum and eukaryotic flagellum. Then next we shifted to the next topic called cell cycle. So what is cell cycle? A series of events leading to the formation of new cell is known as what? Cell cycle, and the phenomenal changes which takes place to the formation of new population in the cell cycle. Okay, so under cell cycle we have discussed the different phases such as interphase, G1 phase, G2 phase, G0 phase, synthesis phase. Okay, so these are the different phases of cell. So from this topic we understood that cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. Cell combine to form tissue, tissue combine to form organ, organ combine to form organ system, organ system combine to form organism. So from this we understood that even though the cells are very small, but the performance or the function of the cells are very high. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. With this we complete this topic, children. We will continue in the next class. Thank you, children.